Thank you for joining me once again. I'm Big Shy, and this is my update regarding Donald Trump and the sponsoring of the conflict in Ukraine. The United States does not want the war in Ukraine to end. I will tell you the reason why I said so, and we will look at a few things that happened in the past and some of the things that are happening right now and some of those that are continuing to repeat itself. The United States is benefiting from this war in Ukraine, and the fact that the United States had lost total influence all around the world. I'm talking in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, the Middle East, and so on and so forth. The global power, the global control of power had shifted from the United States to BRICS. Something the United States had so far refused to accept or to acknowledge. Believe me, they would rather see everything go crazy, everything completely get messed up, than to allow the shift of power from them to the BRICS to sit peacefully. If you really think what we're witnessing right now is bad, don't hold your breath, because the worst is yet to come. This is the fall of an empire, but they are refusing to accept it. They still want to feel like they have something to give. And believe me, don't hold your breath. Sometimes I wonder if Donald Trump understands what is happening around the world, or maybe he's just being ignorant, or maybe he's being controlled by the people around him. I wonder, because his behavior sometimes, the words he speaks, and his attitude is shocking. I mean, whatever the answer to that question I ask is, one thing I know for a fact, and one thing I understand, and you need to understand, is that the United States is a military establishment. They build weapons, sell weapons, to make money. Let me explain that to you in a very simple word. If you produce a product, you need to find a market to sell that product, right? If there is not enough market out there for the product you produce, you need to create a market for that product. So it is understandable that the United States doesn't want the war in Ukraine to end, because they need to sell weapons to make money. United States is broke. They hold the key to end this war in Ukraine. Some of you seems to miss that key point. You blame Russia, you blame the EU leaders, you blame everybody else. Believe me, United States holds the key to end the war in Ukraine. In weeks, maximum 2 weeks, that war in Ukraine will end if the United States stop selling weapons to Ukraine. But they won't, because they need to sell weapons to make money. United States is broke. They will not stop the massacre in Gaza, because they need to sell weapons to Israel to continue the massacre, so that they can make money. They would cause problem across the Middle East so that they can sell weapons. It is all about the money, ladies and gentlemen. It is all about the money. So have that in mind as we progress in this video, okay? Today, the 17th of September 2025, we found out the United States, Donald Trump, approved extra 500 million US dollars on new military aid for Ukraine. The same man that is telling you and me that he wants to end this war. He claimed he wants to end this war, right? But he is now funding the same war he claimed he wants to end. You remember the promises Donald Trump made during his campaign? He had so far failed to deliver. He failed the American people, because a lot of people voted for Donald Trump just for the fact and because they believed he would end the war in Ukraine. But so far so good. he had let a lot of people down. Donald Trump claimed the 500 million came from the money that was contributed by NATO countries and the EU leaders to buy weapons from the United States for Ukraine. I don't believe that nonsense one bit. The money was the first allocated by the Trump administration. And believe me, we are going to see many more money from Donald Trump to Ukraine. I made a video a short while ago and I said, Donald Trump cannot end the war in Ukraine because there are a lot of neocons in his party. People that have that hunger, that vibe to fight Russia. They will never allow Donald Trump end the war. Instead, they will backstab Donald Trump and rusticate him and get him out of power. Now you see, today the 17th, the first 500 million had been approved by Donald Trump for Ukraine. But he claimed, now let's try to believe that, okay, it was NATO and the EU leader that actually contributed that money. 500 million gone to Ukraine today. But Donald Trump said that money was contributed by the EU leaders and NATO countries for Ukraine. Yesterday, the 16th of September 2025, Donald Trump said, when he was asked, he said, Zelensky must make a deal. That is the only way out of this mess. The longer this war goes on, the weaker NATO and the EU becomes. And eventually, disaster is going to set in. Countries will start minding their own economical issues, and it is already happening. Look at Germany, look at France, look at the United Kingdom. So Zelensky must make a deal now.
Well, he's going to have to get going and make a deal. He's going to have to make a deal. Zelensky's going to have to make a deal.
Those were the words of Donald Trump. Can we believe someone like that? One day ago, you said he must make a deal. This war need to end. A day after, you gave him 500 million for the war to continue. Donald Trump claimed he would have to be present in any talks between Vladimir Putin and Zelensky because both men has tremendous hate for each other.
So, you know, those are two people, Zelensky and Putin, that hate each other. And it looks like I have to sit in the room with them because they can't sit in the room together. There's great hatred there. But no, that...
Who asked you? When did Donald Trump become a mediator? I mean, have we not been here before? We've been here before too many times. What was the outcome of all the meetings Donald Trump held with Zelensky, the EU leader, and Vladimir Putin? Absolutely nothing came out from it. So why do we have to go through these same steps again? Does that actually sound like a man that have a clear or good intention to end the war in Ukraine? Why should we listen or believe Donald Trump now when we've given him so many chances but nothing happened? Let me know in the comment section. Trump said he is trying to arrange the meeting and make things happen sooner than expected. Please, if you're watching this video, don't bank on the words that come out from Donald Trump's mouth. The words are just empty words. No push behind them, no drive behind Donald Trump's word. This is about the 6th or the 7th times Donald Trump is calling for the settlement of this war in Ukraine. And every single time he called for the settlement of this war, something happened. A kind of provocation happened. Ukraine does something out of character. Let's wait for the next couple of days. You will understand what I'm saying. I'm only saying this judging by history, based on history, okay? It not maybe I know something is going to happen, but some of us would like to look, we read between the lines, right? Trump is now insisting on direct talks between Zelensky and Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump knows for a fact Vladimir Putin would not meet Zelensky in this form because Putin had always questioned the legitimacy of Zelensky, whose presidential term ended in May 2024, and he had refused to hold an election. And that had now become a big legal problem in any talks or any deal or anything that will be reached. Vladimir Putin does not recognize Zelensky as a legitimate president, and that is understandable. I mean, for you and me, okay, but for another legitimate president to sit and talk with somebody that had held on to power by force, it is degrading. So Donald Trump knows that will not happen. But again, he said he is trying to make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, all Donald Trump is doing here is taking credit for other people's work. And this, listen to what I'm going to say now, this is part of an election strategy. Just for him to say, I did this, I did that, I made this happen during my time. This is all election strategy for another re-election term, I suppose, but I could be wrong, but this is all I think. Another aim that I believe Donald Trump is still trying to achieve, he has not achieved it yet fully. He done about 60%. He needs the rest of the 40%. He wants to make it 100% achievement. And that is to completely cripple Europe. He wants Europe to stop buying Russian gas and oil completely.
They're purchasing Russian oil. I don't want them purchasing Russian oil. And they've got to stop immediately. Not fair to us.
Now, let me ask you, so if Trump is saying Europe needs to stop buying gas and oil from Russia, so if they do, how are they going to survive? Trump knows the EU will never survive without Russian gas and oil or without Russian energy. He knows they will not stop buying Russian energy. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is another excuse for Donald Trump to say, hey, it was the EU that let the war continue by continuing to do business with Russia. Does that sound like somebody that really wants to end the war? I'm going to say a few things now. Just listen to what I'm going to say. Exactly what Donald Trump said. If he mistakenly said it, or if he got carried away, I don't know. But he said this word. Trump said, the EU leaders do all the talks, but no action. He said, the EU leaders do all the talking, but no action.
And Europe has to stop buying oil from Russia. Okay? You know, they talk, but they have to stop buying oil from Russia.
They want the United States to lead the way for them in everything. But that is not possible. EU must stop buying oil and gas from Russia. That is not fair on the United States. Now, let me go back. This is where Donald Trump started to say the truth, the real reason why he is against the EU leader and the real reason why he will never end the war in Ukraine. He probably got carried away. He didn't know he was doing it. He does this all the time. So he said, for Europe to continue to buy oil and gas from Russia is not fair on the United States. It is not a fair competition. So you see what I mean? Double standard. Hypocrisy to the max. So the United States is doing all of this because they are not happy that Europe is still buying gas and oil from Russia. They want Europe to stop because it is not a fair competition for the United States. It is all about the competition and wanting to get USA back wherever I want to get them. Where I think a journey that I believe is not possible, but he is trying to get them up, actually a little bit back up. That is what this is all about. And the more the EU continue to buy gas and oil from Russia, United States is not able to control Europe the way they want to control them. They're not able to bust Europe up in that little box and throw them somewhere so that they can have a voice, a little bit of voice back again in the world. That is what this is all about. Trump said he wants Europe to buy everything from the United States. He complained that the United States gave away over $350 billion for nothing in Ukraine, and still yet, Europe is not thankful. They are still buying from Russia instead of doing business with the United States. They would rather do business with Russia. That is not acceptable. He is not happy about that. Does that sound like somebody that have good intention or someone that really wants to stop the war in Ukraine? The only thing Donald Trump said that really caught my attention is that he said just last week about 7,800 men were killed in Ukraine just in 1 week.
I want that war to stop because last week 7,018 people got killed.
And the number goes up and down every single week. So he wants to end this war as soon and as quick as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, don't bank on anything from the United States because, like I said from the beginning of this video, they have their own dark intention. And believe me, if the European leaders don't come to their senses, United States will achieve what they are aiming for. They will cripple Europe, and Europe will never be able to rise again because once Europe falls, Donald Trump is going to do business with Russia. And that is it. Europe is done, completely done. But the European leaders are not fooled. They understand this. They know this. That is why they are treading very carefully. And they will not fall for this. Well, for now. For now, at least. Now, let me summarize it. Let me finish this up because I'm conscious of the time. The main point I want you to take home today is this. The United States can stop this war in a matter of weeks. 2 weeks maximum. Everything will go down. Remember, they did this at the beginning of Trump's term, and all the killing and shooting and bomb flying everywhere stopped. You remember, right? Because they stopped sending weapons or stopped selling weapons to the EU and to Ukraine. But the United States will not do that. Well, not until they achieve all their objectives. At least they will never or even attempt to stop selling weapons to Europe or stop sending weapons to Ukraine. That is point number one. They can end this war anytime they want to. Most of you are missing the point. You are thinking about Russia. You're thinking about the EU. You're thinking about NATO. You're thinking about Asia, Africa can come in and do something. No. The key point to end this war is for United States to stop sending and selling weapons to Ukraine. Believe me, the killing, shooting, and bomb flying will stop. That is what I believe because we've seen it happen when Donald Trump first came into power. At the end of the questioning, Donald Trump claimed he liked and loved the Ukrainian people. But he said the country is in serious trouble.
I love Ukraine. I love the people of Ukraine. That's why I asked. I thought that was a little Ukrainian accent, but the country is in serious trouble.
This is the President of the United States saying this. He said he loved the Ukrainian people, but that country is in serious trouble. The war should never have started or happened at all.
It should have never happened. It's a war that should have never happened. The country's in very serious trouble, but I'm going to get it stopped.
And just like I said from the start, Donald Trump started taking credit for stopping 7 wars. He said he had successfully stopped or prevented 7 wars since he became the president of the United States. Since he came into office, he had successfully stopped 7 wars.
I've stopped 7 wars in the last 8 months. I thought that would have been the easiest because I know Putin, but it's not.
Can I ask Donald Trump one question? Just one question before I go. Mr. Trump, why haven't you stopped the killing in Gaza? Donald Trump, why have you not stopped the massacre in Gaza? I rest my case.